I call to order the meeting of the Verona Common Council for Monday, February 12th, 2024 at 7 p.m. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Next, we'll have the roll.
Helmke.
Present.
Kimmett. Here. Touche. I'm here. Tucker Long.
Here.
And let's see here.
Alder Posey is present.
Thank you. I'm blanking all of a sudden. I'm sorry. Host.
I am present.
And Cronin.
Present.
Thank you. 7 present, Mr. Mayor. And then 1 online.
And Alder Kemp is attending online. All right, with that, we will move on to item 4, which is public comments. If any members of the public wish to speak, now would be the time to do so.
Good evening. Russ Sagmon, Colliers International. I'm Executive Vice President in charge of site selection for financial institutions across the state of Wisconsin. I'm here to put my comments on the record for the Associated Bank project that was discussed at the Planning Commission 2 weeks ago. So here are my comments. I'm open for questions later when that's up for discussion. So we appreciate Verona's foresight to complete a community master plan in 2014. However, master plans are not zoning code, are meant to be flexible and as a guide. The siting consideration has not been developed over the last 10 years since the plan has been implemented. As you're all aware, this corner is less than 250 feet from the EMS and fire department, which is not conducive to residential above on the hard corner with lights and sirens during calls. This development would be a step in the right direction as a transition from the high-impact retailers and QSR users like Culver's and McDonald's across the street and act as a transitional gateway to the downtown. Financial institutions are typically very low impact on local services, provide great stable tax base, and many times become great corporate citizens involved in community events, sponsorships, and local philanthropy. Not only do they provide capital for growth for small business and individuals, they provide local job opportunities for local citizens like some of you on this council that may work at similar institutions. If not approved, it could be another 10 plus years or more in the same condition or worse. The Hughes family could sell off 1 or more of their 5 parcels, which would ultimately prevent any larger scale development next door on the remaining land. This project would help kickstart a broader development of the block with the Hughes family parcels. There's an opportunity to look at this now. If the Hughes family decides to sell some of the parcels, this opportunity may not be available in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. We're still in public comment.
Sir, if you could please just write your name and address for the record on that. Thank you.
Okay. We are still in public comment. If any other members of the public wish to speak, now would be the time to do so. Last chance for public comment for this meeting. All right, not seeing anyone approaching the microphone. We'll move on to item 5, which is approve the minutes from the January 22nd, 2024 Common Council meeting. Questions, comments, or motions to approve? Motion by Alder Kimmett. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Helmke. Last chance for corrections. Seeing no hands, all those in favor of approving the minutes from the January 22nd, 2024 Common Council meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And the minutes are approved. Just have one item for you under mayor's business. It is to announce that the League of American Bicyclists has decided to renew Verona's designation as a bronze level bicycle-friendly community. This will last for another 4 years through technically 2027. I just want to take the opportunity to thank Catherine Holtz, who put in a lot of work on the application and helped get it done. And of course, I think Verona's doing really well as far as, you know, being bicycle friendly, and we should think of ways we can be even more friendly. But that is all I have under mayor's business. With that, we'll move on to item 7, which is announcements. Announcements from the council. Seeing no hands, I will move on to item 8, which is the Administrator's Report. Mr. Olick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Basically, it's been a busy few weeks of going through applications and the hiring process for both the DPW director and the communications manager positions. My one comment I have is we had a great pool of candidates for both, and we have 3 candidates that are being brought in a week from right now for in-person interviews for DPW, and then our HR manager, Mitch Weckerly, and I are working through phone interviews for the communications manager position. So things are progressing, going really well. I'd like to say again, we have a really good pool of candidates for both, and things are looking up.
Excellent. Any questions for Mr. Olick? Seeing no hands, we'll move on to item 9, which is the Engineers Report. Ms. Fisher.
Thank you. I just wanted to note that the Badger Mill Creek Path Extension and Pump Station 17 Force Main Relief Project is now underway, so you can see that from 18151. So if you're wondering what that project is, that's what it is. And then also the Eastview Road and Eastview Court and Elm Street reconstruction project that is currently out for bid, with a bid opening planned for February 27th. So with that, I can take any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Fisher? Seeing shaking heads. With that, we'll move on to item 10, which is committee reports. First up, we have 10A, Finance Committee. Alder Helmke.
Yeah, I'm going to make a motion to approve the payment of the bills in the amount of $2,465,477.71.
Motion by Alder Helmke. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Posey, I believe. Alder Helmke.
Yeah, so part of the bills are $190,557 are going to the City of Madison for the fourth quarter transit payment, $442,459 for the fourth quarter sewer service payment to Madison Metropolitan School Sewer District, $551,709 for the 2012 bond payment, a $281,084 payment to Payne and Dolan for the Enterprise Drive work, and $116,519 annual membership fees to the South Central Library System.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on the motion to pay the bills? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of paying the bills in the amount specified signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Alder Helmke.
Yeah, so discussion and possible action regarding resolution number 24-001, terminating the TIF district, number 4, and authorizing the city treasurer to distribute excess increment to overlying taxing jurisdictions. So the city of Verona passed a creation resolution creating tax incremental district number 4 on September 23rd, 1996, and adopted a project plan. All projects were completed in the prescribed allowed time, and sufficient increment was collected to cover remaining project costs and outstanding debt. The city treasurer shall distribute any excess increment collected to the affected taxing districts with proportionate shares to be determined by a final audit by the city auditors Baker Tilly LLP. I'd also like to note that we believe there'll be some residual funds, and we are designating those funds to go to the equipment replacement fund. The estimate is somewhere around $90,000, but will be determined after that audit by Baker Tilly.
Thank you for that explanation.
Do I need to make a motion? I think
Yes.
Okay. Can I move to approve resolution number 24-001, terminating TIF district number 4 and authorizing the city treasurer to distribute excess increment to overlying taxing jurisdictions?
Motion by Alder Humke. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Posey. Motion before the body. Questions or comments on the motion?
Actually, can I add to that motion?
Sure.
I just meant to include the part about with the residual funds going to the equipment replacement fund.
That was part of the motion?
Based
And
on the
that-
audit.
And that's the understanding of the
Yes.
That
second.
is understanding second. Okay. So we're caught up. Motion before the body. Questions or comments on the motion? Seeing no further, Alder Posey?
And the majority of those funds, the reason it stayed open for the additional year was because the large amount of the funds are going to the Affordable Housing Fund. Because I know that might be a question for some folks. That 90,000 additional is just towards the residuals towards the equipment replacement fund.
Thank you for that comment. Other questions or comments? The motion to close a TIF district is a roll call vote. If Mr. Olick would be so kind as to read the roll.
Absolutely, Mr. Mayor. Helmke.
Yes.
Emmett. Touche. Aye. Tucker Long.
Aye.
Posey.
Aye.
Oaks.
Aye.
Cronin.
Aye.
7-0, Mr. Mayor.
Should we ask Alder Kemp for his vote as well?
Alder Kemp.
All right, it worked. After some fashion. That motion passes. Anything further from Finance Committee?
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Excellent. With that, we move on to 10B, which is Plan Commission. Alder Posey.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 24-002, approving a conditional use permit for permanent outdoor storage located at 275 Investment Court.
Motion by Alder Posey. Is there a second? Second, I think, by Alder Cronin.
The Plan Commission held the required public hearing on February 5th, 2024, and received no public comments. The Plan Commission voted 7-0 to recommend the Common Council approve the conditional use permit for permanent outdoor storage located at 275 Investment Court with the following condition: the approval shall become effective upon Bricks, Inc. acquiring the property.
And that was part of the motion? And that was the
Yes,
understanding?
that was part of the motion.
And that was the understanding of the second as well? Excellent. Motion before the body. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of resolution number 24-002, approving conditional use permit for permanent outdoor storage located at 275 Investment Court with the conditions specified in the packet, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Alder Posey.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 24-003, approving a conditional use permit for a service station located at 1200 John P. Livesey Boulevard with the following condition: that the washing of vehicles shall be limited to hand wash only.
Motion by Alder Posey. Is there a second? Is there a second? Seconded by Alder Tucker Long. Alder Posey.
The Plan Commission held the required public hearing on February 5th, 2024, and received no public comments. The Plan Commission voted 7-0 to recommend that the Common Council approve the conditional use permit for the service station located at 1200 John P. Livesey Boulevard with the conditions specified in the packet.
Alder Touche.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what they're doing?
So they are doing auto detailing. The reason, it actually was a lively discussion about what they would be doing, and I believe they are here. So if you would like to ask any detailed questions of the applicant as well. But it is auto detailing, tinting, washing of cars would be a limited portion. We really wanted to give them the opportunity to have that part of their business be in there so that they could service the cars fully.
Other questions or comments? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of resolution number 24-003, approving a conditional use permit for a service station located at 1200 John P. Livesey Boulevard with the conditions specified in the packet, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Alder Posey.
Okay.
Mr. Clymer.
So if I may, just to jump in, I think we're on item 10B3.
Correct.
My suggestion here, my understanding is that this item was before the Plan Commission received a recommendation to the Common Council to deny approval of the plan. And if that's the direction the Common Council takes, obviously it has the authority to do that. The reason why I would be hesitant to make a motion on the front end as opposed to just talk about it is, depending on where you land on this, this may impact your motion, because if in fact the Common Council is going to deny the plan, this is a zoning decision, and we really need to go on the record as to why there would be a denial, and that should be part of the motion. So if that's already part of your recommended motion, then I think we're good. But if it's not, then that's why I would recommend waiting a little bit until your discussion's over.
I think based on your advice and from being a Plan Commission, we should discuss it first and then make a motion. Okay. Alder Posey?
So I'm bringing for discussion and possible action, the preliminary and final plan as part of a plan development located at 411 and 415 East Verona Avenue.
Okay. Questions or comments on this topic?
I was going to say, should I read
Sorry.
through our comments and?
Sorry, I thought you were done. So,
So the Plan Commission held the required public hearing on February 5th, 2024, and had 2 speakers. Comments from the public included reading a letter that was included in the staff packet as well as sent to the Plan Commissioners. Comments from the Plan Commission include inconsistency with the site plan, setbacks, and density called for in the comprehensive plan. The development does not warrant the proposed exemptions requested, as they do not provide an improved overall development or benefit to the city, and all expressed a need for residential above the first floor commercial similar to other buildings on East Verona Avenue.
okay. Questions or comments from the council? Alder Touche.
Was this going to be like a demoing the space? Is it just reusing the existing buildings? What was,
This is the Associated Bank application preliminary.
I'm looking at the wrong building. My
Okay.
bad.
Yeah, in the packet, it is page 51, I think I got it at, so.
But it would result in a tear down and then
Yes.
a new building being built.
That's what I was asking. Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Alder Kimmett and then myself.
So after having watched looked at some of the comments from planning, I think the suggestion of denial is appropriate, given what we're trying to go for downtown. I think we really need to be inflexible on the density of housing in our walkable areas. So that's my feeling on it. Like, if that's a non-negotiable, then that's a non-negotiable, but I think we also need to stand firm on that.
Calling on myself. Yeah, I think the summary adequately kind of covers my reasons for voting to recommend denial. I guess I would also note that staff had recommended denial as well based on these things. So I think this is something that doesn't fit into our plan for the area. I think it's a really critical part of our city, since it does kind of, depending on how you describe the downtown, I think I would consider it part of our downtown, or what we want to be part of our downtown. And for that, I just don't think that it merits an exemption to what the plan calls for. Alder Host.
I guess a question, was the applicant open at all to changing their plans, or is this is the first step and then we'll see what happens afterwards, or was there any discussion about that?
Yeah, the applicant came before the Plan Commission for initial review, and they were pretty much told all the things they were told during the denial, and decided to bring it forward regardless of the feedback. So I'm not sure what they might do in the future, but that's where we're at right now. Alder Posey.
I should add, they did make some adjustments between the first and second reviews, but the idea was that this was going to be a final review, and the building and some of that feedback, the side of residential and it just not fitting for that area, those were not changed.
Other questions or comments? Or potential motions? Or Mr. Kleinmeyer?
So, I mean, just reading the comments to this point, I don't want to put words in your mouth. If you are inclined to move to deny, I'm looking at page 67 of the packet, which is the staff memorandum, and in the middle of that page, there are 5 bullet points where city staff had outlined the rationale for the recommendation. 3 of those relate to inconsistencies with the comprehensive plan, which clearly can be a basis to deny a zoning request. I think the other 2 bullet points relate to language within our code itself for what we are hoping to see with planned developments. And if certainly inconsistency with the comprehensive plan, by statute, any zoning changes that you make are supposed to be consistent with the comprehensive plan. This is technically a zoning decision. And so if you're inclined to vote against the proposal, one potential motion is move to deny the preliminary and final plan for plan development for 411 and 415 East Verona Avenue for inconsistencies with the comprehensive plan consistent with the 5 bullet points identified in the staff memorandum on page 67 of the packet. I say that from the standpoint of, I think then if you do agree with those bullet points, you have given a rational basis for why you're making your decision. Obviously, one of those is the fact that it's a 1-story building as opposed to 2 or 3, which is required in the comprehensive plan. Clearly, if the applicant decides wants to modify the plan to some of the discussion, adding more stories is a material change in a proposal that would allow it to come back with a separate application. I just wanted to flag that.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions, comments, or potential motions? Oh, Alder Kemp.
Do you have your phone on?
Should just be able to-
So for Chad to speak, everybody in the room and everybody online has to be able to hear him too.
Yes, which we believe we have the capability to do so.
Can you talk, Chad?
Alder Kemp, can you verify if our sound system's working?
Calling you, Alder Kemp.
Yep, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I was gonna try and crystallize it also. I just wanted to make sure that we were asked Brian a question. The justification for the denial staying strictly to the issues with the comprehensive plan.
Sorry, just one sec. We're
One sec
working
here.
on it.
Alder Kemp, can you just talk right into your cell phone?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
We're good.
I was just going to ask Brian, what I wanted to make sure we were doing when we issue the denial is that our denials are strictly held to what's in the comprehensive plan, and we didn't, do anything or step outside of bounds to, for lack of a better term, put us in a position where they can come back at us for anything other than, it's against the comprehensive plan, and, we're not picking and choosing specific businesses. So I just wanted to be clear that that's what we're doing, correct?
Yeah, so to your question, Chad, then I think if that's the desire for the council, you'd focus on those first 3 bullet points on, again, page 67 of the packet, which is part of the staff memorandum, because the first 3 bullet points specifically address inconsistencies with the comprehensive plan.
Correct, yes.
Anything further, Alder Kemp?
Nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you. Alder Kemp.
I'm going to make a motion for denial of a preliminary and final plan as part of a planned development located at 411 and 415 East Verona Avenue due to inconsistencies with the, what is it called?
With the comprehensive
Comprehensive plan, thank you. Preliminary was just in my brain. Due to the first 3 bullet points listed in the packet, put forward by staff
on page 67.
on page 67 of the packet.
Motion by Alder Kimmett. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Tucker Long. Motion before the body. Questions or comments on the motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of denying the preliminary and final plat as part of the planned development located at 411 and 415 East Verona Avenue due to the inconsistencies with the comprehensive plan as outlined in the first 3 bullet points of the staff memo on page 67, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. And the motion for denial passes. With that, we'll move on to 10B4, which Alder Posey.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 24-004, approving a condominium plat to create 2 units located at 135 Enterprise Drive with the following condition. The approval shall become effective upon the applicant acquiring the property.
Motion by Alder Posey. Is there a second? Second by Alder Kimmett. Alder Posey.
The Plan Commission discussed the proposal on February 5th, 2024, and voted 7-0 to recommend that the Common Council approve the condominium plat to create 2 units located at 135 Enterprise Drive with the conditions specified in the packet.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing shaking heads. All those in favor of resolution number 24-004, approving a condominium plat to create 2 units located at 135 Enterprise Drive with the conditions specified in the packet, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Anything further from Plan Commission?
Nothing further.
Excellent. With that, we'll move on to 10C, Public Safety and Welfare Committee. Alder Host.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a temporary Class B fermented malt beverage and Class B wine license applications from the Verona Area Community Theater, 103 Lincoln Street for February 15th through 17th, 2024. D. Baldock, agent.
Motion by Alder Host. Is there a second? Second by Alder Cronin. Alder Host.
Thank you. The Verona Area Community Theater is requesting a temporary license to serve beer and wine at their performance of the Red Flags. Licensed bartenders will be serving alcohol. Staff recommends approval of the licenses, and we voted 3-0 in public safety to recommend approval. Sounds like there was no reservations from the police department as well.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving a temporary Class B fermented malt beverage and Class B wine license application from the Verona Area Community Theater, 103 Lincoln Street for February 15th to the 17th, 2024, D. Baldock, agent, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And the motion passes. Alder Host.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve a temporary Class B fermented malt beverage and Class B wine license application from the Verona Area Community Theater, 103 Lincoln Street for May 9 through 11 and 17 to 19, 2024. D. Baldock, agent.
Motion by Alder Host. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Touche. Alder Host.
Thank you. Similar to before, the Verona Area Community Theater is requesting a temporary license to serve beer and wine at their performances of Once Upon a Mattress Senior. Licensed bartenders will be serving alcohol. Staff recommends approval of these licenses.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of granting the temporary Class B fermented malt beverage and Class B wine license application for the Verona Area Community Theater, 103 Lincoln Street for May 9th through the 11th and the 17th through 19th, 2024, D. Baldock, agent, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Alder Host.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to make a motion to approve a change of agent request for Madison Epicureans LLC, doing business as Pasquale's Cantina, located at 100 Cross Country Road.
Motion by Alder Host. Is there a second? Second by Alder Kimmett. Alder Host.
Thank you. Pasquale's is requesting a change of agent due to new management. The background check on the new agent is complete and no issues were identified. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the change of agent request for Madison Epicureans LLC, doing business as Pasquale's Cantina, located at 100 Cross Country Road, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Anything further from Public Safety?
Nothing further. Thank you.
Excellent. With that, we'll move on to 11, which is new business. First up, we have 11.1, which is a discussion and possible action regarding resolution number R-24-005, establishing in-person absentee voting locations for the 2024 spring election and the presidential preference primary. Mr. Aulick.
Thank you, Mayor. This resolution establishes in-person absentee voting locations for this year. A municipality can only have one location open at any single time, so just be aware of that, and we'll make sure that people know whether to go to City Hall or the library has been used in the past as well. And there'll be a public information effort about both of those locations, when they're open and what the hours are. But that's what we have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Questions, comments, or motions on this item? Alder Posey.
I might have missed it. Did we have a list of dates, times, locations yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
And just keeping in mind, the February primary is not something that we are holding in the city of Verona, maybe in other locations around the state, but we'll get that out prior to, obviously, the April spring election
Okay.
well in advance. And it's a matter of getting those ballots first and getting everything all set up. But yes, we will
So I-
have those dates and times.
I think, don't we usually, when we make this, we already have that?
It's a little bit different this time around because we're only doing a single location at a time. So that's the
Okay.
difference. But we're working on it.
Okay.
Other questions or comments or motions? Alder Cronin.
I would like to make a motion to approve resolution number R-24-005, establishing in-person absentee voting locations for the 2024 spring election and presidential preference primary.
Motion by Alder Cronin. Is there a second? Second by Alder Touche. Motion before the body. Questions or comments on this motion? Alder Kimmett.
So I'm also, I guess, just a little bit confused. Is this a new state statute?
No,
So it's always been one place at a time?
for many years.
Okay. Cool, thanks.
Other questions or comments on the motion? Alder Posey.
Sorry, I'm just kind of stuck on the fact that we're approving the locations, but we don't actually have the locations. And if,
Well, yep,
I guess, I feel like maybe it should be worded slightly differently so that we're approving having just one.
Mr. Aulick.
what we're trying to do is establish at least a couple locations around the city to make it convenient for people to get to. But at any single time of day, only one of those can be open and available for voting in person.
So is that what the ordinance is establishing?
This resolution is, yes.
Okay.
Yep, this resolution is allowing us to use multiple locations around the city at any single time. I'm sorry, one location, multiple places at any one time, and is what it's been used in the past, I'm told, is the library and city hall. That this allows us to establish at least those two as locations, but we'll have the hours for a single time period for each of those. You can't do both at the same time. That's what this resolution does.
Alder Tucker Long.
And again,
So I'm concerned that having multiple locations but only having them open at certain times is going to be more confusing and make it less easy for people to do this rather than making it easier for people.
Yep, I absolutely appreciate the comment. It's just a matter that, Deputy, yeah, the Deputy Clerk Kayla, thank you. Thank you, Madam AV expert.
I'm Deputy Clerk Kayla. Basically, what this resolution is doing is just laying out that we can use both the City Hall and the library. With Holly being out, I'm still trying to catch everything up, so we're still deciding on the times. Early voting for the April 2nd election starts on March 19th. During our hours that City Hall is open, we will be having early voting happening at City Hall. So it'll be the times, like in the evenings, that we might do it at the library, or on the weekends that we might do it at the library. This is just allowing us to be able to do it. We haven't decided yet if we will or not. So this is just a resolution saying, hey, you can use both.
Thank you. That was helpful. Alder Helmke. Alder Touche.
With Holly's absence, I just want to say thank you for stepping up and figuring this out. I'm sure you have a lot of extra work on your plate right now, and I'm sure this isn't easy. Thank you.
Other questions or Alder Kimmett?
Just to clarify, thank you. And I do really like the idea of having it be business hours. If it has to be at City Hall for ease and convenience, that's great. But the library as an after-hours option is stellar, so please don't cut that.
Alder Helmke.
I am going to speak. I would second that, basically. I think it's really important to have opportunities for people to vote. Not everybody, has capacity during the normal business hours to come in, and really having opportunities and lots of timing is really, really important to give people the opportunity to vote. Voting is super important. So I appreciate that you're keeping these options open.
Alder Tucker Long.
This won't affect people's ability to drop off absentee ballots in the Dropbox or anything like that?
Dropbox is not allowed.
Yeah, so,
Dropbox
By
is not allowed.
state.
Okay, perfect.
It is not allowed.
Okay, perfect.
So it'll just be handing it in person during our hours or
okay.
while we're, no, just during city hall hours.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
other, I guess, back to questions or comments on the motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of resolution number R-24-005, establishing in-person absentee voting locations for the 2024 spring election and presidential preference primary, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Next, we'll move on to 11.2, which is a discussion and possible action regarding ordinance number 24-1038, amending Title 15, Chapter 1 of the Code of Ordinances relating to adopting by reference Chapter SPS 327 camping units. Mr. Alec.
Thank you, Mayor. Someone at the Department of Safety and Professional Services brought to our attention that we don't have SPS 327 included in our code by reference. This is coming to the building inspector, is the requester on this. And in order to inspect campsites, if we were to do that, both him and I agreed we probably won't be doing that for any foreseeable future. But anyway, this is what it's about, and we would like the ability to do it should we have a campsite.
And I believe we are required.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Other questions, comments, or motions on this one? Alder Posey.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 24-1038, amending Title 15, Chapter 1 of the Code of Ordinances relating to adopting by reference Chapter SPS 327 camping units.
Motion by Alder Posey. Is there a second? Second by Alder Host. Motion before the body. Questions or comments on this motion?
Can I start camping behind City Hall now?
We'd have to have it inspected first. Other questions or comments? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of ordinance number 24-1038, amending Title 15, Chapter 1 of the Code of Ordinances relating to adopting by reference Chapter SPS 327 regarding camping units, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. With that, we'll move on to 11.3, which is a discussion and possible action regarding the lease agreement with the Art House 360 for city-owned property at 401 West Verona Avenue. Mr. Kleinmeyer.
So, I mean, I think we have really good news. The agreement that's in your packet is acceptable to the Art House. I mean, it's very similar to what we had before. I think that the changes that were discussed kind of behind the scenes were minimal. I do want to note, if you look at page, I think it's 196 of your packet, so this is page 11 of the lease agreement. As part of our discussion last time, you had asked Jamie to go back and get some more information regarding the escrow account and different equipment, let's say, for lack of a better term, at the facility. As a result of that, I think the recommendation was to move that amount from $50,000 up to $80,000. That was acceptable to the Art House, and so that is in the agreements. We have also added some language that requires that amount to increase based on the Consumer Price Index. That language is just beneath that in subsection B. The one request that the Art House has made is the language as drafted said that this would commence January 1st of 2030. They've requested that that would be 2032. I think the justification there is if the lease is going to start in 2024, we actually don't get up to $80,000 until 2032. And so then to have that CPI, we'll start looking at it in 2032. I mean, I think that that's fairly reasonable. So that's literally the only change in the document from what's in your packet, and I think Jamie and I both recommend approval of it, and I think it's consistent with the discussions that you all have had to date.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions, comments, or motions on this item?
Can I make one more?
Oh, sorry.
I mean, if assuming you're going to approve it, we would like the kind of standard language of subject to final review and approval by Jamie and by me. The one thing that right now the lease agreement anticipates an exhibit, which is effectively going to be a map. My understanding is we may in fact need to get a certified survey map done for this property as a result of one of the grant applications that Artos, and if that happens, we'll probably just put the CSM in as the exhibit as opposed to an actual map because it's effectively going to serve the same purpose. That's just an example of why we need a little flexibility on the motion.
Alder Kimmett.
I make a motion to approve the lease agreement between the city and the Art House 360, subject to final review and approval by the city administrator and city attorney.
Was that
With
part of the?
changes specified?
The
I think
motion
that's
you
part of
just
the-
made right now captures everything that we need. Yep.
Motion by Alder Kimmett, is there a second? Second by Alder Tucker Long. Motion before the body. Questions or comments on the motion? Alder Humke, and then Alder Posey.
I just want to say I'm really excited. Like when you came in, I don't know, it was like a year ago, it was like, this is such a great vision. And I'm really, really excited that we're able to come to an agreement that works for both parties, so.
Alder Posey.
And that's essentially what I was going to say. I think all of us who have been on this journey are really excited to see this come to fruition and to see what this entire area of our community is going to start. The energy of it is going to be really great with the completion of the park and then Art House 360 coming in. I really think this is going to be terrific.
The other good news is we've come to agreement on the TIF agreement and the escrow agreement too. That all kind of, those didn't have to come back to you, but we did reach agreement on those too.
All fantastic.
Mr. Alec.
Just one last comment. Ms. Carissa and Jessica have been nothing but excellent to work with. They're going to be great partners on this project. You know, we still own the building and we still, have our obligations and they've agreed to do all that work to really do a lot of the renovations and handle all of that, which saves us on our end a lot of administrative and otherwise work time. But they've been nothing but great partners in this project and really great to work with. We're lucky to have them. We really are.
Other questions or comments? Seeing no further discussion, get back, please. All those in favor of approving the lease agreement with the Art House 360 for the city-owned property at 401 West Verona Avenue, conditional upon, subject to final review and approval by the city administrator and city attorney, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That motion passes. With that, we move on to item 12, which is adjournment.
So moved.
Motion by Alder Touche, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Humke. All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And we are adjourned at 7:43 PM. Thank you, everyone.